looking at registration for the 24 winter session. So this is term 1 and term 2 of 24 winter. So at UBC, we split the year into winter and summer sessions, and each of those also have 2 terms. So right now, our registration coming up is going to be covering term 1 and term 2 of the winter session here in 24 winter. So we're going to be registering at the same time for September classes and January classes for the whole winter session. And summer session registration will come much later on. So typically kind of March time, we'll be looking at registration and any courses for that. So right now we'll be doing first year registration from the 24th of June to the 27th of June. And you'll receive a very specific time slot in that time, indicating the earliest time that you can register. And we would always recommend registering for those courses as soon as your time slot opens. So we will get into much more detail on that as we go through, including a little bit now. So our registration timeline, students should have received a registration appointment in early June, letting you know the earliest time that you can log into the system and register for your remaining courses that are not yet registered for you. So in mid-June, our student team were working hard to get students registered in all of their first year physics, math, chemistry, and applied science courses. So that will depend, what courses have showed up for you will depend very slightly on one of the program paths you're following in first year. Again, something we're about to get into a little bit more detail on here today. But essentially by mid-June, so we should be mostly set up to have registered for most of our first year courses for us by now. And finally, on the week of 24th to 27th June, as I said, we will go ahead with our registration time and register in our remaining courses, which is going to be, in our case, our first year English and very typically humanities and social science courses. And again, we recommend registering as soon as your time slot opens. So we're going to get into how we're going to see that and a free bit of detail around that just now. So how will I see my registration appointment? So some of you might not be sure right now, have I received my appointment? Have I already, some of you may be very proactive, already gone on and seen that and understood when we're going to be registering, but okay, either way, we still have time to figure this out. So how do we go in and check how we find our registration time? So we want to first navigate to Workday. So this is the information here at the top. So it's the myworkday.ubc.ca, your Workday account. And there's a couple of screenshots here on screen that should help guide you a little bit. So on your Workday, when you log in, you should see your top apps in the bottom right. You can click on your academics and then your registration and courses. And then you'll be given your registration appointment dates and times on a table on that page. And there's going to be 2 appointment times. They should be, however, exactly the same. So it's going to be a term 1 appointment and a term 2 appointment. Like I said at the beginning here, we'll be registering for both term 1 and term 2 courses for the winter term during this time. So that should all be showing up for you. Of course, if you have any problems with that, as with anything, you're more than welcome to get in touch with us. But we do go through a little bit of troubleshooting around various things as we work through this presentation as well. So don't worry too much right now. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Rumiko now.
Okay, so let's see what courses you will take in your first year at UBC. So the courses you have pre-registered depend on the curriculum that you'd like to pursue and then up to your high school background. Here we are going to show you the 5 different first year registration options. Okay, these 11 courses are core courses for engineering first year students. And depending on the curriculum you follow, there are minor differences, which is like this. So this is a list of the courses for each curriculum, and the courses in bold are the ones different from the standard curriculum. If you applied and accepted to the PBME, Pre-Biomedical Engineering option, you will take BMEG 101, 102, Chem 121, and 123, instead of Apsci 101, Physics 159, and Chemistry 154. Students in pre-med timetable were registered in Chem 121 and 123 instead of Chemistry 154. Students in honor math timetable take Math 120 instead of Math 101, Math 121 instead of Math 101. Students in physics deficiency take Physics 100, Physics 157, and Physics 158 accordingly. Okay, let's go to the next one. So you can find the courses you have pre-registered on Workday. How to find it? It's like a quick academic tab, and then click registration and courses, and then view my courses. It's an easy 3 steps. And then this is how it looks. Just a quick view. And then the question might come out. What if my current course is a blank? That short answer, don't worry about it. You will be guaranteed, you will be registered to all of your engineering first year courses. But there is a timetable called the temporary timetable that corresponds to each of the different paths we just see. So the temporary timetable serves as a placeholder. Our registration team is working on adjusting schedule and register everyone in the courses, and you will receive an email when you are registered into the first year engineering courses. So don't worry about that situation. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Rumiko. So I'm going to guide you through now how we register in our remaining first year courses. So hopefully, like I say, by this time, a lot of you will be registered in all of your first year courses that we've kind of covered, the outside, the phys, the chem, the math. But how do we do the rest of it, and what do we need to look for? So our self-register for courses for first year is going to cover 2 additional courses that we'd need to register in ourselves. And that is your first year English course. And in most cases, again, not all, but most cases, you'll also be registering in a 3-credit humanity and social science course. So one of those exceptions is if you're in the PBME timetable, so the pre-biomedical engineering timetable, they don't take 3 credits of humanities in their first year. So you'll just be doing the first year English to register in separately. And some of you might also have additional credit from AP, IB, A-level that covers one or even both of these. If you are in that situation, we're going to get to this a little bit later on about using some of that credit. We also have a follow-up session that we're also going to advertise at the end of this session. So hold fire on that one. But we're going to talk you through, if you are in a situation where we're going to be registering on these 2 courses, what we need to look for and how we need to go about it. Okay. So first of all, the English requirement. So we have essentially 2 options here to meet our English requirement. And the recommended option that most students follow is Words 150B. So Words 150B is designed to introduce and prepare you for university level research and writing. And this is, a course where there are many different topics that you can pick from, which are posted on the journalism department's website. So very much worth having a look at these options. They are now posted on the journalism website, I believe. So we will send over the link along with these slides if you wanted to have a look at that and do some planning around that as part of your options here. But this is a very common and recommended way of meeting your first year English requirement. However, in some cases, we might want to look at the alternatives here. And that is absolutely okay too. So the other option to meet our English requirement is either English 110 or English 111. And these are absolutely acceptable equivalents. They are, however, more literature and writing heavy. Okay. So if that speaks to you, if this is something that is of great interest to you alongside your engineering study, you are absolutely welcome to register in either of these courses as a replacement for Words 150B. One thing I would like to just bring attention to, knowing that there may be some students here today that are looking at that kind of long-term pathway of going to med school after their time here with their undergrad at UBC Engineering, is that English 111 is no longer counted towards UBC's med program and their English requirement. So if we are kind of selecting right now that English requirement, and we're thinking somewhat about some of those long-term impacts and implications, just worth noting and looking into, would absolutely recommend that if this is you, that you contact UBC's med program or look into the research on this or contact any other med programs you're looking at. But just a little piece of information I wanted to include here, that the other two courses, if you pick Words 150 or English 110, right now they cover it, English 111 no longer does. So just a little piece of information there that may be helpful for some of you who are in that position. And further from that, so our English covered now in terms of what we should be looking for. Humanities, social science, there are not two options for this, but many different courses you may pick to register in that would meet this requirement. So this is a very broad spectrum of different courses you can pick from to meet this requirement. Now, what is humanities and social science? So humanities, study of human culture. We're looking at departments like history, classical studies, literature, language. And social science, study of society. So many anthropology, sociology, political science, economics courses, okay? So there are so many courses across UBC that meet this requirement. Generally speaking, there are a few restrictions to consider. So any technical, scientific, or lab-based courses are considered too close to your engineering studies to be acceptable. Scientific, geography, or statistics courses, same thing, too much technical content that has too much crossover there. No studio or performance courses are allowed to meet this requirement, and no medical terminology courses are permitted to meet this requirement. But in most other cases, many, many other courses are acceptable. Okay, so really what we're thinking about here is rounding out our degree, broadening our horizons, thinking about our interests and strengths. So thinking about kind of what have we succeeded in before, what's been a really key area of interest for us, what do we know we're good at, what would we be interested in studying more, okay? Our course level is also very important. So you could use 300 or 400 level courses to meet this requirement, but I would not necessarily recommend it because with a heavy engineering first year course load, also then taking on a higher reading load, writing requirements of an upper year course would not necessarily be in the best interest of most students. The other thing to consider here is while language courses do meet our humanities social science requirement, you can only register in a maximum of 3 credits of language courses. Now, this is significant because although you're only doing 3 credits this year, there are another 3 credits later on in your degree program that you take of humanities social science. So if you're going to take 3 credits of language right now, just know that you can't then take another 3 credits of language later on to meet that requirement later. So just worth thinking about. Now, there is an expansive list of approved humanities and social science courses on our website under registration. Again, that link will be on the detailed slides here. We keep a database of all courses that have been requested before and whether or not they're approved. So you can see just how many approved courses there are to meet this requirement. And just again, another note here that PBME students don't take a humanities course in their first year. You would take both of those requirements later. So there's 6 credits later on of humanities social science. Okay, and back over to Rumiko on saved schedules.
Okay, thank you, John. So now we'd like to discuss how to plan these English and humanity courses on the Workday. And then you can do it by using saved schedules. So that the saved schedule is a work list that allow you to create potential timetables for registration. And you can register to courses via saved schedule by clicking Start Registration. Good practice is to register the term 1 first and then term 2. And EAS recommends making a minimum 2 to 3 saved schedules as the courses or section might be filled up when you register. Having multiple saved schedule increase your chances to register quickly and without issues. So we'd like to show you how the same schedule works, or how you can do it on this slideshow. But don't worry about these. You don't need to remember memorizing anything here today. We're gonna send you the link that how to do that. Those things. Okay. So that the first you log into Workday, and then click the academic tab in your top ups menu, and then the right side of the page right there, and then click the registration and the courses tab in the top menu. Next, on the registration menu to the very right and save schedule, click the first course section link. You must start here to build saved schedule. Okay, let's go next. Okay, then here, this shows how to create a saved schedule. You select that academic term. You have to select that two terms. Can make sure one tip is that if you click that select that the 2024-2025 winter session Vancouver, it's not gonna show anything. So you need to click select that make sure to select 2024 winter term 1. And then you can also select the 2024-25 winter term 2. So make sure to click that the ones with term, and then select your academic level. It should be undergraduate, and then click OK to go to the next screen. And then you can see that you can type that the course code in the window pane. Use a search filter, on the left to narrow, and then you can also filtering the courses by, for example, filtering by meeting time, filtering by meeting day, course level, or delivery mode, and there are more options. So click the checkbox next to the filter, and you can apply those filters. Your search results gonna be updated automatically. Okay, so the next step is to save the course you want to add to your saved schedule. Click the course title, and a pop-up window will open. Check the course description for registration requirements. And I always recommend the students to do that, because those descriptions, including the prerequisite, and restriction information. And then most of the time that the students said, oh, I couldn't register, then the reason can be explained in the description, that why you cannot, so missing a prerequisite, maybe missing a prerequisite. So, or this course is restricted to a certain faculty. So those descriptions are available there. So please try to read the description, and then add all the requirements activities to your saved schedule, and click the Add to Saved Schedule button. Okay, let's go next. Okay, now select Create Student Registration Saved Schedule. If creating a new saved schedule and you create multiple schedules, make sure that you pick up the name that you can identify that the particular saved schedule later. Or maybe you can choose pre-existing saved schedule you have already created, and then by selecting all, and then choose the one you want to add the course. Then click the Choose Time button to select your course selection, course sections. Okay, creating a saved schedule. Okay, click the checkbox in the select column to add a course activity to your schedule. You can only select one section for each activity. Add a section for each of the required activity for the course. Like for example, you may be required to take a discussion or tutorial section alongside with the weekly lectures. You can click the Add Course section button to continue adding courses to your saved schedule. And then once you have done adding courses to your saved schedule, click the orange Done button.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. I'm back in with some tips on building a saved schedule. So some things that you should look out for here. So what we would often recommend is opening your current courses and the course schedule in two windows, so you can refer to both. Now, if you have two screens, ideal. If you have two devices, ideal. Whatever you can do, so you have your current courses open, what you've already been registered in, and the course schedule alongside it is going to be really useful for you in terms of cross-referencing. And the reason for that is the system will let you save courses that conflict with your existing courses in the saved schedule. But come the day of registration, you won't be able to register in those courses because there's going to be a conflict on them. Okay, so really useful to have those two things alongside each other when we're selecting our humanities, social science, and our English course, making sure that that's not clashing, that it fits in with our timetable and the courses we've already registered in. Can make a lot of sense to have both of those things open at once. We'd also really recommend having a few different saved schedule options just in case one of your classes fills up. So if you're really keen on a specific humanities social science section, one of those courses, really make sure that, just in case those seats are full when it comes to your registration, you've got a couple of other options that fit in with your timetable lined up. Same as your Words 150B, just making sure that you have those things ready to go so that when your registration opens, if there is a problem, if it is kind of the seats are full, you're not able to register directly onto the course, you've got another saved schedule option to just move forward and register into. You don't have to go and try and find courses again and kind of go through all of that panic in a moment where your registration's opening. Okay. If alerts pop up, become a detective to understand why there's an error. So in the event that there is an alert that pops up when you come to register anything, really be a detective, see what's going on. Is there a missing prereq or co-req issue? Unlikely as a first year student, but could be possible in some cases. Are we forgetting to add a course section, as Rumiko just said? Are we missing that one specific course requires you to register in a lecture and also a discussion group, or a lecture and also a lab, or even 3 sections in some cases. So just want to make sure we're adding everything we need, everything is there, and looking into some of the details to why something might be going wrong. We're also, of course, always on hand if you are still really confused as to what's going on and why. One big thing that we'd like to note is that there are 10-minute breaks between classes. So if you see one class is finishing and another class is starting immediately, you will have 10 minutes to get between classes. But it's a very large campus, as any of you who have been on UBC Vancouver campus can attest to. So 10 minutes in some cases may be a challenge to get from one class to another. So please consider that when you're registering your humanities, social science, or your English requirement. Wouldn't necessarily recommend, unless we have a plan to get across campus quickly, registering in one course that is immediately after or straight before something on the other side of campus. If we can avoid it, let's do it, right? And then the final thing to note here is the add drop deadline. So there is still a window for changes in your registration to be made right up until the add drop deadline, which is September 16th for term 1 and January 17th for term 2. Okay. Now, we would always encourage you to be as proactive as possible with this and not wait until the last minute to make changes. Because, of course, adding a course, for example, 2 weeks into classes means a lot of catch up. Dropping a course at that time, also not ideal for some reasons. So you can absolutely utilize that time. But if you do want to consult with us ahead of that time, again, that proactivity is absolutely encouraged. And we'd be very happy to talk you through your options and the sort of things you want to consider around that if we are looking to switch anything or drop anything. Okay. Now, a question I think I've seen come up already, but definitely one that I think is important, is how we balance our timetable here. So how should I schedule my English and humanities? Should I do one in one term and one in the other? And generally speaking, yes, that is exactly what I would recommend. For many of the timetables here, we're looking at English in one term, humanities in the other term is the recommended approach to make sure that our schedule is as balanced as possible so that we have a similar amount of courses and kind of workloads in term one as term two. Now, there are a few exceptions here. So, of course, as we've covered, those pre-biomedical students, the PBME students, are only doing English in their year one, and their humanities social science comes later. So they will only register typically in term one English as a recommendation. As you can see here, 7 courses in term two, 5 courses in term one. Sensible thing is to add English into term one, right? Pre-med students, so as you can see there, 5 courses in term one, 7 in term two. So the recommendation there is English and humanities both come in term one. So that's another slight difference to the others. But in all other cases, so standard timetables, honours math and phys deficiency, we would recommend registering English and humanities social science in opposite terms. So 1 in each term is our recommendation. Again, if you have any concerns around this, if things look different for you, if you're intending to approach this differently for any specific reason, more than happy to talk to you. Please come and speak to us and we can help you do some planning around that. So what happens if you're going on right now or have been on already and you have no courses registered at all? So please, in that position, don't panic. Please go ahead and build your saved schedule with the self-registration courses, so your humanities, social science, and your English course. And when your core engineering courses are added for you, our registration team will try and work around your schedule as best as they can. Okay, so if we're in a position right now where we're not registering those courses yet, that's okay. We are going to go forward and register in our humanities, social science, and our English course, and we'll work out the rest with you as we move forward. Okay. So registering from a saved schedule, how does that work? So after we've done all of this prep, what happens when we go live, right? We've built our saved schedules, we've prepared in the best way we can, and now we want to go live and register. So we navigate to our saved schedule again. And once our registration appointment is open, you will see an orange start registration button on your screen, okay? And at that point, you'll be brought to a new page, which is the page which is currently on a screenshot on our screen right now, which is start registration from a saved schedule. So if you're looking at that, it's everything you need. You set things up well. We're in a good place. We can go forward and click register in the bottom left, the orange button there. And your registration will at that point be processed. So hopefully this is nice and simple and everything that you need, everything that you've added goes ahead and gets added. But the good thing is either way, we will get a registration summary screen. So as soon as you've clicked register and it's done its thing, you'll get a registration summary screen to let you know what's happened. And that's going to break it down into 3 different areas. Now, again, fingers crossed, there are seats available. The registrations we've requested are totally okay. That's not clashing with any other courses. We're not missing any requirements. And therefore, we'll see them here under successful registrations, which in this screenshot is at the bottom of the screen there. But there are 2 other options that we might find ourselves in. So one is unsuccessful. So you've not been registered in the course. In the event of this happening with your humanities, social science, or English course, there are a number of things you can do. If you're really set on that course, you may want to investigate, see what's happening, see why this has gone wrong, speak to us, of course. But you may also decide to find an alternative course that will hopefully fit better for you. So please go ahead. Maybe you've got another saved schedule lined up, or you can go, as we'll get to in a second, and find courses outside of that. Or the other alternative is you've been waitlisted in a course. So that means that there is currently no open seats available in that course, and you've been added to a waitlist on the course. So you may be added or contacted when a seat becomes available, or you'd have to proactively monitor things. And therefore, it may be wise in this position, especially with humanities, social science, and maybe those English courses, to find an alternative option that we can register directly into, have that guarantee and feel secure around that we have a spot in that course. Okay. Again, if you have any problems with this or you're unsure about this, please consult with us. We're more than happy to kind of talk you through anything associated with this. Okay. Now, as I just very briefly touched upon, we can go ahead and also register in courses that are not on our saved schedule. So once our registration time is open, you may find yourself in a position I've just described where we have an unsuccessful registration, and maybe either we've set up other saved schedules and they're not working either, or we haven't set up any other saved schedules. So we need to go ahead and find a humanities social science course or an English course that will fit. And we don't need to build another saved schedule to do that. Once our registration time is opened, we can just go ahead, go through the same process of finding those courses, but instead of adding them to the saved schedule, we will, once our registration time is opened, if there are seats available on that course, be able to move forward and click the register button as it shows on screen here. So we can kind of take that approach once our registration is open. Again, if there's any problems, any changes you want to make, these kind of different things with those humanities, social science, and those English courses, this is certainly an option. Okay, and what if the register button doesn't appear? So first, check that your registration appointment time is open. Of course, if you're going on before your registration time, this is where your add to save schedule comes in, that planning, that preparation side. So check that you're not trying to register early, you haven't got the wrong time zone or anything like that. And if it is open, if your registration appointment is open, you can click the troubleshoot button here that will appear to understand more about what might be happening, what might be in place that is preventing you from moving forward with your registration. Now, of course, if that doesn't help you either, again, please feel free to get in touch with us and we'd be happy to support you further. Hopefully this won't happen, but good to know what happens if it does. Okay, and back over to Rumiko for some registration support.
Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of information about, and then yeah, everything is probably new to you. So we have a registration support both in person and then on the website. So if you have a questions about your course selection, that the best place to visit is our first year registration webpage. The registration FAQ in the web page is also available from the first year registration page. And then checking this page will be probably the fastest way to find the answer for popular questions. And if you cannot find the answers, then again, you are more than welcome to contact us. We have a virtual drop-in sessions available. It's called the quick questions. And the drop-in session schedule are posted on our website. And also, please go to the Welcome to Engineering 2024 handbook. I think you guys get the access, and then that's available on Canvas. That also have the tips about the registration. Okay, now we'd like to discuss what are the a few questions that are common or many first year students ask. Okay, the first common question is, can I take less courses in my first year? Well, the short answer, yes, but we'd like to you to talk with us. So, and then before making the decision, I want you to share what you need to consider. The first of all, students in the first year are expected to take the full first year course load. And the student with AP, IB, or A-level credits might be able to drop from the courses, but do not drop until the credits are confirmed in your transfer credit section on Workday. And then a student that needs to take certain credit amount due to the scholarships or having a student loan or being on a particular visa like a student study permit, or living with a UBC housing, or being the student athlete, or having a guaranteed placement option, then before dropping any course, we definitely we do encourage people to consult with the EAS academic advisor before EAS academic advisor. And then if you want to reduce course load, again, please, the same thing, please talk with us first before dropping the courses. Dropping courses is much easier than adding course. So if you find like, oops, I want to get back to the course, that might be a little, maybe not little, like might be a difficult thing. So make sure you talk with someone, with us, and then make a decision. Okay. Next slide. Okay, the next second question. What if I drop from a course by accident? Yes, that happens. So first of all, please do not drop a course that you have registered. And then before making the decision and before making the action, please consult with academic advisor. If it happened by mistake, then please register on the wait list for the course, and then we will do our best to re-register you to the course. But we cannot guarantee that we can get back to you to the same section. If you have an AP, IB, or A-level credits and are thinking to drop the course, once again, please come to talk with us first before dropping. Okay, the next question is, can I swap the course section I was pre-registered in? Okay, so we would not recommend swapping pre-registered engineering courses because although there is a swap button, this will not work for most of your courses. First year program timetables are complex with many courses that uniquely fit together. To change one course, you must change many courses, and then often not all these courses have seats open to swap into. So that's gonna be a snowball effect, but it's, or I would say more like a domino effect that's not like started to not like messing up. So if you have if you have extenuating circumstance, we will accommodate a section switch where possible. The section switch request form along with the eligibility requirements are on our website, and documentation might be required. If there is an open general seat that fits perfectly in your timetable, you can attempt the swap course option after your registration time has opened. So we are going to send you an email including this information we discussed today and slide and access to the recording of the workshop, answer to the common questions, and the links to our website.
Okay, thank you. And just before we get to our Q&A, which is, I'm sure many of you are anticipating having some questions answered here, but just wanted to let you know that there is a short feedback survey that will be posted in the chat if it hasn't been already. We would love to hear from you any feedback about this session. So please feel free to kind of fill that out when you get some time. Okay. But with that in mind, thank you so much for listening to us so far. We'd like to take a little bit more time and answer some questions as well. So I can see that there are a couple of questions here in the Q&A that we were kind of covering or planning to cover at the end of the session here. So I'll get started with some of those. And then, of course, if you have any new questions you'd like to ask, you are more than welcome to ask them as well. Okay. So first one I can see here is on PBME, I think, and covering registering English and humanities courses. So again, I think we covered a couple of times in the session about English and humanities for PBME, which is slightly different from the other timetables in that PBME students don't take any of their humanities credit during their first year. So again, just to cover this, because I think it was only very briefly covered here, as part of your degree requirements over your entire time here at UBC, you will take a total of 6 credits of humanities social science courses. 3 credits of those for most students show up in your first year. Okay, so most students, everyone except those PBME students, will take those 3 credits in their first year and have 3 remaining credits to take later on in their studies. Okay, PBME students will take all 6 credits later on in their studies, so they won't take any during their first year. So that is the difference between the two. But you should all be registering at least English unless we have advanced credit already set up, which we'll get to a workshop on that just at the very end once we're done with our Q&A here. Okay. A couple more questions that are coming in and a couple more that we were going to cover at the end of the session, I think, here. So one here that we were going to cover at the end here was, would you recommend enrolling in the 2 courses now, even if we plan to use transfer credits? My recommendation would be yes, until we see those transfer credits come through and we are very sure they've been assessed, they are on our record, we are certainly good to go. I would recommend registering in courses in the meantime to cover those credits, just in case we find later on in the process that those transfer credits aren't applying to our record, rather than then having to try and find courses that fit when maybe some courses are a little fuller and we're a little closer to the start of term. Certainly think that being the case that you can drop courses right up until that add drop deadline, that adding courses at this time, just in case something doesn't come through with your transfer credits, would probably be recommendable. But again, if you have any kind of issues with that, any queries around that, we're always happy to, for sure, talk about those kind of different things and help advise you one-to-one on that as well. So please, you can send in any questions to us, or of course, outside of this session, I should add, or book in an advising appointment, and we'd be happy to kind of talk you through many different things, including that. And then one other that I think came through that we were going to answer at the end here, and I may be missing some. If so, please flag up to me, Jess. But we had a question of, would you recommend taking the elective English requirement even if you have transfer credits, which adds on to this nicely, in that, this is another option, of course, is that you may choose to still, even if you have transfer credits, take the course at UBC. Now, this is something, and we cover this extensively in our advanced credit workshop, but this is something when it comes to kind of advanced credits that cover physics, maths, and to an extent chem as well, we would typically recommend taking the UBC course. When it comes to humanities and social science, that is entirely up to you. I can see, one of the reasons you were kind of touching upon here might be a GPA boost, but of course we know that the first year engineering program is a very heavy course load. So adding on an additional 3 credits or 6 credits onto that, if we can instead, reduce that a little bit with our advanced credits in those specific areas, that can be, something that we might want to consider, especially if, those humanities, social science courses, they're not prerequisites for our second year program. They are requirements if we have those advanced credits we've already met. So very much worth kind of really thinking about how much that's going to serve you. But yeah, that's always an interesting question. And again, one you may want to plan around a little bit and talk about the implications of a little bit with advising before making a decision on that. But yeah, humanities, social science is easier to take the advanced credit. We would recommend it more so than taking that for some of the math, phys, and chem courses from your first year. So thanks for those questions. I think we have one open question as well in the Q&A. Rumiko, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So the question, if you choose to use your credit for English and humanities instead of taking the course at UBC, would it negatively impact our GPA in any way? Use your credits for English and instead of taking the courses. Oh, I assume that that's related to the AP IB credits. So that the transfer credits like AP or IB credits, there's no grade coming into the UBC's, how can I say? It's not calculated into the UBC's GPA. So it's not included in your first year GPA. So the my answer, if that's like a credits about API credits or like A level credit, the answer is not negative, neither negative or positive. What is the other option I can think of? And then the next question, what if I do not register for English and humanity courses for term 1 and term 2 and then place them to the summer? Okay, so yes, that's possible. Like sometimes that the students think like it's 7 courses too much, and then yeah, we can see that. In that case, like a student sometimes like postpone taking the humanity and English courses in summer. And it is, we encourage the students to complete those courses during the summer. And then that means the students will need to stay on campus at UBC and take the courses in person usually. The reason we say like take those courses in summer, like a few reasons. For example, that the students progressing in second, third year, they are more likely to work during the summer, especially having the cold program. Then students they started to have a difficult time to find the time to accommodating those like a missing first year requirement. Also that the English requirement especially has to be completed by the end of the second year. Otherwise, you're gonna have a limit to take the courses in the future, like after the third year. And also, if you are interested in going to the mechanical engineering, the English requirement has to be done by August 1st. So there are a few reasons, and then academic advisors can explain the situation. But yeah, so we have these are like a quick 3 reasons that the students better to complete English and the humanity requirement in summer if they cannot take it in term 1 or term 2.
Yeah, I think that's the live questions we have. Oh, there's one new one come in, but let's just for a second on that. Yeah, absolutely, fully agree with you there, Rumiko. Like this is truly a situation. If we are looking to drop any courses from our first year registration or not register in those humanities, social science, I would really, really reinforce that point of speaking to advising. If we have advanced credit, that's a slightly different situation. That is something that we'll cover further at that advanced credit workshop I'm going to talk about shortly. But truly, if we are looking to take those courses over the summer instead of over the winter, there are absolutely implications that you would want to consider with that. And it will kind of depend somewhat on your individual position, your goals, your ambitions, how, what courses you're completing this year. But absolutely something that we would strongly recommend speaking to advising about before making any decisions about dropping any courses from your first year timetable, especially if we do not already have credits on those courses ahead of time. Yeah, and then I think we had some before. Oh, there is. Okay, so someone's asked in the answered section if there is a difference between words 150A and words 150B, or should I just not worry about it and register in B? So all engineering students would take words 150B. Words 150A is another course set up by the same department, but is for a different faculty of students. So words 150B is the correct version to take as an engineering student. So as long as you are joining us as an engineering student in September, you'll be taking words 150B. So please go ahead and register in that and not words 150A. And then I think we had a couple more questions that had been asked ahead of the session. So let's just look here. Okay, so somebody asked if it's necessary to go over your course schedule drafts with an academic advisor, and if so, will we be assigned an advisor, or will we have to make an appointment on the website? So is it necessary to go over your schedule draft? It's not. You don't absolutely need to do so if you feel comfortable that you have done your checks, that things are set up in a good way, that you have all the courses you need. Hopefully Like we said, you've been pre-registered on all of your core engineering courses, and then you're adding in, of course, the humanities, social science in many cases, and the English course in all cases, or almost all cases. If you are happy with that, if you are comfortable with that, if those things make sense to you and they are courses you want to be in, sounds good to go. But you are welcome, of course, if you would like to, if it would benefit you to consult with us, absolutely happy for you to do so as well. And you can either reach out to us via email, you can book an appointment with an advisor, whatever feels most comfortable to you to have that discussion is absolutely welcomed. Somebody also asked recommended humanities courses for first year engineering students. And this is truly individual. Like I said in our humanities social science section here in the presentation, this really depends on your own interests, on which areas you might want to broaden into. There are a few considerations there, some common courses students might take, and again, thinking about specific scenarios. Some students plan to take a minor degree at some point during their studies, and therefore, if they wanted to do a minor in commerce, for example, they may take Econ 101 or Econ 102 in their first year as their humanities social science to start working towards a future minor degree, or just because they have an interest in that area. Very common engineering kind of humanities social science course to be taken amongst our students. There are many across many different areas, and it truly comes down to your own comfort level, your own interests, how you would like to broaden your time and experience here at UBC, and how that truly fits in with you, as well as the very obvious kind of logistical side of what fits in with our timetable, right? So if we already have our registered courses and we have certain gaps that maybe we want to take classes at that time, we may have to kind of think about, okay, what fits in with those gaps as well. So definitely worth thinking about all of those things. I would recommend as part of that. But again, if we are really struggling, if we are really unsure, very happy to talk any student through that a little bit more one-to-one if it will be helpful. Okay, I see we have a few more questions coming in. We are at time here with a couple of minutes left in the session, so I do want to try and end on time for you all today. So I can see that some of those questions are being answered. I would also, of course, add that if there's any questions that we did not get around to answering today, we are very happy, of course, to answer them following the session. Like we said a couple of slides ago, it feels like maybe a long time ago now, but a couple of slides ago, you will receive lots of information following this session from us in an email, including a recording of the session, but not limited to that. And you are more than welcome if there was anything that maybe you had that was a question that was quite specific to yourself, or just something that we haven't got round to answering today, then please absolutely reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help and support. Truly, we are here for you. We do lots of virtual sessions, lots of different things over the summer. We run regularly, certainly every day at the moment, and regularly during the week in other times, online quick question drop-in sessions for students and prospective students to come in and join us with any questions they might have. So even if you're not in Vancouver and on campus right now and you want to connect with us, ask us any questions, we are often available for you to do so. So please connect with us in whatever way you feel most comfortable. And I will just flick on now to our last slide, which I've been talking about a lot and promising a lot on. But if you are, and I know some of our questions today have certainly focused around this, if you are in a position where you are coming into UBC Engineering with AP, IB, or A-level credits, we are running an advanced credit workshop on the 21st of August at 5:30 till 6:30 p.m. local time here in Vancouver. So you are very welcome to sign up for that session and learn a little bit more about how you might want to apply that credits, if you want to apply those credits. Certainly some questions that we very briefly touched upon here today, but something that we'll go into much more detail on in that session. And of course, like I say, for any time you have this kind of burning questions you'd like to ask to us, you are more than welcome to get in touch with us in any way that feels most comfortable for you. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us here today. Really welcomed you being with us here today. So thank you. And as I say, if this applies to you, please feel free to join this session in August. And we're also running a number of other versions of this session this week. If you feel like you'd like to hear this information again, but a recording will also be coming to you very shortly. Okay, so thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.